Then he joined in Bose Institute as research associate. Then he worked as lead postdoctoral research associate in system biology in University of Edinburgh, United Kingdom. He also worked as senior research scientist in ChemBiotech, TGC Life Science, Kolkata. Now Dr. Ganguly is working as assistant professor in the postgraduate department of zoology, PB College, Asansol, West Bengal, India. He has published his scientific work in various reputed journals like Plant Molecular Biology, Journal of Bioscience, Planta, Plant Journal, etc. I cordially welcome you, Dr. Ganguly. Please proceed with your presentation.
Thank you, Shongita, for my 2 minutes of glory. But anyway, thank you very much. So, I am Arnav sir to my students, and currently, today I will be talking about a topic known as fumigation. The word fumigation, comes from the word fume. So, you release some sort of gas, fumes, and that gas has got a purpose of killing certain bugs, something which you don't want in your room. You want to fume them out, you gas them out, you give them certain strong chemicals and vapors of chemicals, and so that all the unwanted living organisms which is present in your room, you fumigate them out. This fumigation is a very important technique. It is not only used, we are using it in cell culture, but this fumigation is used in also places like your pig pen, pig sty, in poultry, dairy, even in your house. When you use pest control, you use fumigation. Suddenly, where you see that you have been infested by termites, you call pest control. Then the pest control, what they say, that you empty the room, leave that room. You leave that room, they close it, they wear all protective gears, and they have lots of chemicals in their bag, and they have a pipe in their hand, and then they keep on spraying the whole room. They wear all mask and protective equipment. Basically, it's the same chemicals which they spray throughout your room, and it's closed windows. They keep it like this for 2-3 days, and then they tell you to open the windows, and then you enter the room. The room is free from all your pest. So this is uh, one way by which this is the fumigation step. In cell culture, it is even more critical. So with this, let me try to share my screen. Hope my screen is visible,
Yes,
students.
yes, your screen is visible.
Mm. Okay, so we will be talking about fumigation of cell culture lab. Actually, when we before we talk about fumigation, why do we need fumigation? That is because of a fear of contamination. And now, what is this fear? Let us check. So, fumigation day is not a circus day. It is not a circus. It is the circus of the dead termites. Basically, in your homes, when you have these termites, they fumigate everywhere, and then you essentially what you have over there is all the corpse. So basically, it is a very serious job which is done. So why do you need fumigation? You have over the past few days, you had seen lots of cell culture flasks being used. This is a series of cell culture flasks. All are with some experiments, some drug has been treated, or certain things have been done. Certain chemically treated cells are there. Certain specific growth conditions have been given. Different cell lines are there. Suddenly, one of them has got this color. You work hard over the weekend. Boss is when you join PhD or a research lab one day, your boss is breathing over your neck. Any day he's going to cut your neck. Yeah, your job is on the line. So when I was in ChemBiotech, one day if a result did not come and the reason was Quanta, then you had it. Better, yeah, it was Ram Nam Satya hai. Okay, for you in the company. So these things have to be avoided because the client was waiting. You needed to deliver the results the next day. and suddenly this damn thing comes over. And you see that there is a sort of contamination coming inside one of these flasks. These all have got cells. Cells are lying on the surface, and they have got these media known as, basically it's a DMEM media normally. This is the standard media which is used in most of the cell cultures, especially when the adherent cell cultures. And these are these cell culture flasks which are used, in which they are grown. They are kept in CO2 incubators, and they grow. Different cells have got different time of expansion, and you have to remove these cells. Then you check, when you're seeing a contamination. This is very, very bad. This, can you imagine what would be the cost of so many flasks? And one of these flasks is an important flask in the experiment, although they keep backups for contaminations. Can you imagine what is the cost of this whole thing which is going over here? Anybody, any of the students, just unmute and say, what would be the cost? What could be the cost, and approximate cost? One quanta may destroy this. Anybody? Any cost? Just give a guess. Any guess?
10,000.
10,000 rupees. Are you out of your mind? Not less than 10 lakhs. Okay. So, depending upon the cell line which you are using, that also has got a cost. One of this stupid contamination is going to destroy your future. It is absolutely no circus or fun. I mean, why do we have a class on fumigation? अरे साफ सफाई के लिए हमको क्यों चाहिए भाई एक क्लास? संडे का एक सुंदर शाम बर्बाद कर रहा हूँ सेल्स कल्चर साफ सफाई लेके. Okay, it is not like that. And you absolutely need the results. Then you have this quanta. The quanta is the word for contamination. Everybody talks about quanta. Ghonta hobe. Tarpore ki holo? Then faculty, you get the faculty foot. You get kicked out of the lab. You are fired from your lab with your PhD. I have seen people being kicked out because of a contamination. You are not getting results for some time. You are in many places, you are kicked out. And in India, they may not kick you out, but they may actually treat you worse than slaves. Your life will become hell till you automatically leave. They will keep on torturing you every day till your life becomes hell. Think about your life. Where are you going? Okay. And then the bugs dance. The bugs are a contamination substance. They are not insects, of course, but the bugs, you can call the bacteria also bugs. You can call the fungi also bugs. You can call the damned yeast also bugs. Anything which bugs you, anything which irritates you. So this irritating, they are dancing. Because of your contact, one person bites the dust. So based on studies by the FDA and ATCC is a very important place where you get lots of different cell culture lines and strains, ATCC. And on their studies, it is estimated that 5 to 30% of all cell cultures today are contaminated with Mycoplasma species only. Mycoplasma is a very, very bad thing to happen. By Mycoplasma. Anybody knows what? Do you know what Mycoplasma is? Anybody? Well, guess what? Just open up. What is it? A bacteria? Fungus?
It's the smallest cellular entity, the smallest bacteria.
Absolutely. It is so small and very difficult to detect Mycoplasma. Suddenly, they look normal, but slowly, the cell health will become bad. And where you need robust cells, say, why are we growing these cell cultures? Because these cell cultures ultimately will be used to test a drug, a new drug which one person has discovered. You give the drug to it. Either you see whether this drug will kill the cell or what the effect of the drug will be on the cell. Therefore, you're using a cell culture. You cannot take a human being, open his mouth and put in the drug and then see what happens. Well, our Indian PhD bosses, they do it like that. They'll take a PhD scholar, open their mouth and put in a drug. They can do it. They can do anything. They are criminals. So, but whatever it is, you cannot directly give it to basically you cannot give it to a person. So you have to test them on cell cultures. So if suddenly it's already infected by mycoplasma, the cell is weak, you give the strong drug, then the cell dies. Whether it died from mycoplasma or did it die from the drug, you are not sure. So this is something we have to be very careful about. The incidence of viral contamination of common cell lines, 25% in one study. In one study, there are more than 25%. So out of 100 flasks, 25 flasks have been infected with virus. They had checked 100 flasks randomly. Out of the 25 flasks of them were contaminated. I mean, there's more than 100 flasks. And non-cytopathic viruses are even more likely than mycoplasma to escape detection. So these problems do take place. That is very disturbing. It's like almost your ghost dancing, skeleton dance. You're almost something like, for a research scholar, this is very disturbing and very irritating. Not only is your hard work gone, your career can come to the line. Your boss will not listen to you. Why was there contamination? Because there was contamination. That is not an excuse. Why did you not clean it or take care? I was working in Bose Institute where contamination was a way of life. After repeatedly telling the boss and the staff that this room needs fumigation, for spending that 10,000 rupees of fumigation, they did not. So every I used to grow 20 flasks. Out of 20 flasks, I would find that 50% of them were rejection because of contamination. If I was lucky, so I used to keep at least five copies of the same thing so that contamination could hit. If I'm lucky, I could get 2 of the flask of a particular sample, perfect. And I used to work with those 2. And the other 3 were excess waste, which was given. Each media cost money. So they never used to take care about these small minor things.
Hello.
So it is time for your prayers when you observe under the microscope the following. So if you see the following thing, it is time for prayer. Pray to God that the damage is very less. In a common cell culture flask, if you see under the microscope, this is a particular cell line. They are growing on a flask attached to a cell line. And you see this is a typical example of a bacterial contamination. It's a 50 micrometer diameter. Yeast contamination. These shiny buggers are the yeast. You have another Candida species also. They also contaminate your cell cultures. You have Penicillium species also. They are fungus over there. So these are the other contaminations in a cell culture. So the main contaminants are bacteria, yeast, and fungi. I personally once was bugged with a nematode contamination. 1 vial from ATCC costed, it was specially transfected with some particular DNA. This particular cell line was costing 9 lakh rupees, 1 vial in Chembiotech. It was a private company. They needed this line, so it was costed, and so they bought this vial. But the duplicate was not costed. They sent normally they would send 2 or 3 vials normally, one with some damage. They sent only 1 vial for 9 lakh rupees, and I grew them like madams and all explained. I removed them, I washed them with PBS, and then I put them in DMA and medium and under the hood, under everything done under perfect clean laboratory in Chembiotech, because we could not risk any contamination. And already the stock which they said, it was contaminated with a nematode. And immediately, you know what happens? In a private company, they are paying you 90,000 rupees a month or something like that. They are spending on top of you. And if they can't get the result from that person in one day, they will kick you out. Simply, they will not look at you. Okay. So having said such a thing, that this person is not capable of doing it. They will not believe that ATCC has sent a contaminated cell line. They will not. ATCC is sending cells to everywhere in the world, but they do send sometimes contaminated things. So from somewhere or the other, this contamination was there, and it was bugged. So I simply could not report to the boss. I decided to try it on myself. Tried to improve it myself. I added a cocktail of drugs, from antifungal to antibacterial to anti-nematode, everything one by one, slowly, one step after the. In the first step, it did not work. I had to clean up the antibiotic. Then finally, in albendazole solution, albendazole was given, and then these nematodes, they died in albendazole. And after I cleaned these cells up, and then I grew them I gave them 5 or 10 passages, so that they come back with extra serum, fetal bovine serum, fetal calf serum. I give them. They have got lots of growth factors and things for overcoming their stress. So after growing them for several 4 or 5 passages, although 4 or 5 passages were lost, you will learn later why passages are important. Maybe madam has told you, the older the cells, the more the passages you go, the older the cells become, and they lose their originality. But after that, I got these cells perfectly all right. And then we did lots of work, and then fine, we got results also from there. So you can see this is yeast in between. This is fungus, and these are the rod-like bacteria. So Mycoplasma is basically, it's a genus of bacteria that do not possess cell walls, and therefore they are unaffected by antibiotics that limit bacterial growth by inhibiting cell wall formation. Have you heard of ampicillin? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So there are these antibiotics, all these antibiotics, they have got a mechanism of action, mode of action. One of them is to stop the formation of cell wall. If the cell wall doesn't form, then the bacteria die. You can get rid of them. These particular antibiotics. There are many bacteria which, of course, they stop the translation, transcription. You have got other antibiotics, different ways by which they can stop the bacterial growth. But so these do not have cell walls, and so no cell wall. So antibiotic, it's almost like saying no head, therefore no headache. They can live without a head, so they don't have any headache. Something like that. No cell wall aches with this bacteria. So they have flexible morphology and cell size of 0.15 to 0.3 micrometer range. Means that they escape standard cell culture filtration approaches. So normally these cell culture media which you have, they have got components which you cannot kill by heat, which you cannot heat. If you heat them, these components get destroyed, and then the cell it's not good for the cell, and the cell don't survive. They need these factors which are destroyed by heat. So for them, you do a filter sterilization. That is, you attach a filter of 0.45 to 0.22 micron, 0.22 to 0.45 micrometer, and then in a syringe you can filter the filter media. So the bacteria and all, they get stuck in the filter, and the pure fluid gets outside. The pure media for the cell, it gets outside. Or sometimes they use a vacuum pump, and in the vacuum pump they keep a filter, and then they run the vacuum pump, and the whole media gets filtered into a tube. So by this you can totally get rid of most of the contaminants. But these Mycoplasma are 0.15 to 0.3. Yeah, they even penetrate these pores. Unlike most other bacterial contaminants, Mycoplasma will not be apparent by casual inspection. Just by looking under the microscope, you will not see. You need to do take them out, and the turbidity of the media will also not change. Like in that contamination, that color of the media changed. You could understand that this media was basically, there was some contamination. So here you cannot find out. Basically, they do not kill the mammalian cells. they infect, but they significantly impact culture by altering cellular mechanism, causing chromosomal aberrations, slowing cell growth, and interfere. They make the cells not very healthy. And the results which you get from mycoplasma contaminated cells, they are not reproducible always. So they can be detected also by basically the best way is once you have a mycoplasma contamination, I mean, they come from fetal bovine serum mostly. Once you get it, you can stain it by this agents like DAPI or Hoechst stain. They are DNA staining, DNA binding dyes. They stain the DNA under UV. After you stain, you can see them as blue colors. Ethidium bromide, you cannot do it. Ethidium bromide, you need a larger amount. These are much more sensitive. So common causes for this contamination. What are the common causes for contamination? So basically, before we go, this is how a laminar flow looks like. There is this glass shield in front of you. This is also closed by a glass on site. Your head is above. You are wearing a mask. Normally in India, in laboratories, none of the students wear any protective equipments, most of them, because the lab is not rich enough to provide them. But in companies, of course, they provide you these pipette. This is a pipette gun in the hand. This is a pipette over there. And they provide all these things. They are used once and thrown away. Each pipette costs like 50 rupees. So it's a very expensive business. So it looks like it. And there is an airflow circulating inside. So even if a person breathes in and a bacteria comes here, there is an airflow that removes the bacteria out. This sort of rotating airflow, it is known as a HEPA. This is filtered out. So this is a HEPA filter which actually prevents any bacteria from coming from you inside, bacteria or contamination. But if you forcefully with your hand, if you put a contaminated stuff over here, you will get the contamination throughout. So you must, at least before you start, these hoods, laminar flows are equipped with UV lights. At least for 5 to 10 minutes, you have to put on the UV lights, at least. In India, I would recommend like 30 minutes. You have to open all these. These are the assay and culture plates which you are using. Keep them open under UV lights for a long time. Even the equipments which you are using, especially keep out the UV sensitive things, but non-UV sensitive, definitely you do put it over here. Just UV them. So most of the contamination comes that you have not sterilized them properly. And most of the students are, because many of the students, PhD students I've seen, they want to run away home fast. So instead of waiting that 30 minutes of UV, what they do is immediately without that, just they put some 70% alcohol, they spray, and then they do their work and run away half an hour faster. Problem is the next day, that half an hour becomes a hell lot of a job if there is a contamination. This is a neck. This is a bottle. This cap is sometimes kept loose, not tightly fitted, and you keep them outside in the incubator. Contaminations enter. Then you hold this with your bare hand, the neck part. Then spillage. It falls around. That spillage brings in contamination. You're putting the pipette inside the bottle. You touch. The pipette is contaminated. You have touched it with your hand. And then you touch the neck over here. Contaminations enter. So basically, these are the equipment. This is a cell culture flask. This is the media. The cells are growing attached to this flask. It is kept in the incubator like this, and it is pipetted through inside like this. So in this media, if this is loose, no wonder what is inside, they will come inside. They have got a chance of coming. Sometimes this filter is has got a defect. Normally they don't, they take care, but this filter sometimes may have a defect and it can enter through this filter in this cap. This filter will prevent anything less than 0.22 microns from entering. So these caps have got a filter also. you can find that there are contamination by the touching of this pipette. So if you touch it very close, if you touch it over here, it is advisable not to touch. You can bring in a contamination. Then this is a waste paper, vacuum waste. So you are removing with the help of a clean pipette, you are removing the waste liquid, the liquid which you want to change through a vacuum. You are putting this inside over here. Suddenly it happens that the vacuum stops and there is a spill back. This contaminated waste, it comes back into the flask. This can happen sometimes because of an air trapped or something like this. A splashback from the waste beaker, it comes back when you're using especially vacuum pump. Then sedimentary dust or particles of skin settling on the culture or bottle, hands or apparatus held over an open plate from a bottle or a dish. So basically cleanliness. Dust from skin, hair, clothing. If you have a lot of dandruff, you scratch your hair and then use that hand and you start. I'm wearing gloves, but your gloves has got your dandruff and your bacteria. So your gloves is not clean. So you drop it, the skin cells and all, you have all bacteria coming. And basically, why is the dandruff formed? It's because of skin bacteria. Dandruff is formed, and that bacteria containing dandruff, it falls. I've seen many people with many cultures with dandruff also inside. The word of dandruff came from because I've seen people. I'm seeing a culture with flaky white floating. I don't know, what is this? I told one of these students, what is this? Sir, nothing, sir. I don't know what it is. Then I said, it's a bloody hell. Under the microscope, it was dandruff. Khushki dhuki diye cell culture. That person didn't take care. He scratched his head and dandruff fell inside. So always use hair and care dandruff free before you go to a cell culture lab. HACCU, this is a big thing. Just do a HACCU inside front of the hood. All the bacteria and virus, they come inside. You contaminate the whole stuff. Immediately a 1 lakh rupee experiment goes away with one HACCU. Other thing, unreliable sterility, non-sterile reagents and media, contact with a non-sterile surface, poor quality control at commercial supplier. Therefore, you have to use good companies like Jipco, BRL and all these expensive because your DMEM mostly we use the Jipco, BRL company ones. If you use the local Indian made ones, some of these companies, they are really very bad. I mean, they don't do a strict quality control. So media under the cap and spreading to the outside of the bottle, it must be clear. Dust and spores from storage, perforated filter, dirty conditions or incubator conditions, dust and spores from the incubator or refrigerator. Now we come to the part of fumigation and fogging. If you could see this picture, this is a cell culture lab, and you can see there is something is being sprayed inside. This is a foreign lab. In India, it's even much more gross. In foreign countries, fumigation has been stopped. They do a thing known as fogging. This is fogging. They keep a machine, and this fogging machine, it fogs all the chemicals inside to kill the bacteria, fungi, and other spores which are inside the whole lab. The lab, each cell culture lab in Chembiotech, in the company which I worked, they were equipped with the whole lab was like a laminar flow. It was a HEPA. That means when you entered, here you see a laminar flow, but the cell culture lab, outside it had a machine which would circulate all the air. It used to filter all the air which used to come inside. So all air which used to come inside, there was also a hatch. So there were two doors, one door, second door. So you open the first door, you enter. You close the door, you are inside a small room, chamber. And then the HEPA is put on. The air is filtered inside the room. So even when you enter inside, you enter the air which you breathe out is also filtered. Then you wear your mask and everything, and you go inside. So from the mask, you have filtered air coming out, and then you go inside like a COVID protection kit. You go inside, and then all the air which is coming inside, which you're breathing, all are filtered air. So that air has got no bacteria, at least up to 2.22 micron. So in this particular lab, this fumigation starts to take place. Fogging, this is actually fogging which is taking place over here. They're making a fog. একটা ধোঁয়াশা করে দিল এখানে, কুয়াশার মতন করে দিল ভেতরটা, fogging, they fog out. Everybody must be outside. So what is fumigation and fogging? Fumigation and fogging are two methods commonly used in pharmaceutical companies to control the microbial contamination in controlled area. Okay, but now fumigation with formaldehyde solution and potassium permanganate is banned by different regulatory agencies. Ha, bolo. Question? Ninat? So basically, fumigation takes place when you mix a formaldehyde solution with potassium permanganate. If you mix potassium permanganate with glycerin, you have an explosion. But if you mix it with formaldehyde, it's almost near an aldehyde. You have lots of fumes coming out. And these fumes are very irritating, very formaldehyde fumes. Have anybody of you smelled formaldehyde?
Yes, sir.
Where did you smell formaldehyde?
Chemistry lab.
Chemistry lab. So when you
Yes.
come to a biology lab also, in the museum, all the specimens are there in formaldehyde. That smell which comes out, that can kill you. It's very bad for the lungs. Sometimes do you hear that when people in local shanties, when they drink some alcohol, many people become blind and die after drinking spurious alcohol.
Yes,
So what
sir.
is this spurious alcohol? Have you heard of this news?
Yes, sir.
Spurious दारू पी के मर गया है.
Yes, sir.
Huh? So that is nothing but what they do is they mix this ethanol. The ethanol is very safe. When you drink ethanol, alcohol dehydrogenase, it converts it into ethanaldehyde, and that ultimately becomes a fat, sugar. It can go and gives a lot of energy. It becomes taken in small quantities. It's an energy drink. So almost you get immediately a boost of energy. But just in case, if you have CH2O ethanaldehyde, that is done. But for example, if you have when they mix a methanol inside it, actually when you drink this ethanol, what happens? Your body dehydrates a bit, and that gives a good feeling in your mind, and you feel very happy because of this mild dehydration. And then this ethanaldehyde and all that, they get metabolized, and then you are free from this alcohol, and again you drink a bit of water, and then everything is fine. You have a good night if you drink in minor quantity, and then in the morning you're fit and fine and fresh. But if you some people, they want to keep this effect of good feeling for a long time. What they do is they mix methanol inside it, and methanol, once instead of ethanaldehyde, it becomes methanaldehyde, and that is nothing but formaldehyde. And this formaldehyde, as you know, it is a strong denaturing agent. So it is not metabolized by your body. And so you get this feeling of dehydration for a long time. The effect is much more longer. It's not that methanol is cheaper. You get this effect. So nasha bahut der tak rehta hai. But result is all your proteins inside your body, they get denatured. So the more you drink, more spurious alcohol is mixed inside, more methanol is mixed inside. Immediately, you people, the chances of death, the nerve cells get fixed. So basically, your body proteins get fixed. You are good for preservation. You are good for preservation, but you are not good for living. It's like all the dead specimens inside formaldehyde. So, and it is very bad. Even formaldehyde fumes, when they enter inside you, your inside your nose, the cells and all, they get irritated and damaged, and they die, the fumes. So it is better in foreign countries, they say that don't use fumigation now. You do fogging. There are different types of chemicals are used, but those are expensive. But in India, we still use fumigation. So this is formaldehyde, and this is potassium permanganate, KMnO4. You mix them in a container and close it. The fumes start coming and then you close it and leave. So before starting the fumigation activity, stop the AHU up to closing the fumigation activity. It stops the AHU up to closing the fumigation activity. Place the suitable size of fumigation container in the area. Heating 91% paraformaldehyde at the range of, this is all the amount you give. So I'm not going to read them out. You can basically, the thing is that you mix in a container, you take potassium permanganate and you take formaldehyde, you mix them keep them in a container, you wear protective equipments, you go inside the room and you keep it for 1 night, 2 nights, and so that this lab is unaccessible for 2 to 3 days. This lab is unaccessible for 2 to 3 days. So there's something, a chamber like this. Inside it, you mix these chemicals and keep it and run away. In in Bose Institute, what they did, I saw, they took a normal, did not use such a safety measures. A lab attendant was a poor person. He was uneducated person, was told, take this on a cotton, put some potassium permanganate and pour some formalin and come out of the room. So he used to come without any protection, empty, naked hands. He used to take them without any mask, nothing in the room, and he used to pour them and say mix it properly. All the fumes used to come. He used to simply put his hand over his nose and then he used to come out coughing. So if you look at human rights, these people have to be, these PhD supervisors, they need to be put in jail. These Indians, they don't consider people, these PhD supervisors, most of them in India, they don't consider people as people. So this is a capitalistic, even companies, just because there is a regulatory body, they will do it. If they have to kill somebody, they will kill somebody. Even big corporates also do it like this. So the human race is a very bad race, you can say. Theoretically, it has to be fumigated. You have to use dilute ammonia solution, 2/3 to absorb the fumes. Ammonium solution has to be kept for 1 day. And with a mild detergent, the fumes must be absorbed. Nobody does it. They just open the windows and the doors and everything is gone out. The whole world is destroyed then. So precaution is, you have to wear all personal protective gears. You have to wear protective clothing, gloves, masks, safety glasses. Do not carry this procedure alone. Nobody follows in India. They do it. Abroad, when I worked with cell culture, my God, a little bit of smell of formalin just came out one day. My boss came and said, why am I spelling formaldehyde? Why am I spelling beta-mercaptoethanol? In India, they work on open tables with beta-mercaptoethanol. Nobody uses a fume hood or chemical hood. There, one day, a bit of beta-mercaptoethanol smell came, and my boss told me, kindly see that this doesn't happen in the future. I was told very harshly. In India, I'm used to working in the open. I was working in the open. I used beta-mercaptoethanol. Here, it is supposed to be done inside the chemical hood. But even if you do it in the hood, but somehow some smell comes out. Then I blamed it that the fume hood is not working. Then you should not work. You should repair the fume hood and all things as it comes. So they are very, very strict about all these things. And in research laboratories abroad. In India, they don't value these things. India or even in USA also, they don't value it too much. But UK, Europe, and the whole of Europe, it is very, very strict over there. So formaldehyde, basically, it is a potential carcinogen in nature. There is risk of cancer associated with this to the person who is handling formaldehyde. It causes burns and the vapor irritates the eyes and respiratory tract. Fumigation with formaldehyde is banned in most of the country, not in India. Basically, this is what happens. Basically, I would say fogging. So what is fogging? Now, fogging is used in pharmaceuticals to control the microbial contamination in controlled area. This is directed by a blower and vaporized space. This process requires a fogging machine and fogging solution that is known as fumigant. Basically, they wear all these things And then these Fogger machine solutions is sprayed in the area in the form of aerosol. The particles of disinfectant solution suspend in the air for long time and kill all the airborne bacteria, fungus, and their spores. This is a very effective way to control contamination. So basically, these types of machines are there. This is recommended ULB machine, ultra low volume machine for small labs. Then fogging agent, hydrogen peroxide vapor or Virosil is better. It's much more safer. So 6% hydrogen. These are the hydrogen peroxide and hydrogen and all are the things. I'm not reading them out. So different solutions. When you are working, you will have a manual present over there. If there is no manual, then tell your boss that make a manual there. There should be a SOP or a standard operating procedure for every cell culture lab. It is very important. Any research laboratory should, or any company, they should have SOPs ready. If SOP is not there, standard operating procedures are not there, then that company should be banned immediately. In India, they make us SOP like anything just to show the government officials that, oh, there is an SOP, SOP chalo. But actually, the SOP must be done very carefully, thinking with several people sitting together, giving time and writing the rules, so that thinking very carefully, so that no single individual, animal, or anything about our environment is harmed. We must be very, very careful about these standard operating procedure. What are SOPs? They are standard how people, the steps, what are the rules which have to be followed, what are the things which you have to be using. All these must be very carefully done. Even our college is also making several SOPs. We are in the process of making SOPs in all our laboratories over there. So far, academic institutions like our colleges are exempted because we don't work with that harmful chemicals. But formaldehyde we work, and that is very quite harmful. So we will be having a lot of SOPs, and it should be under supervision also. Perfect. For new people. So Virosil you can buy, it's very expensive, damn, because you can, there's a compound known as silver nitrate inside. Chandi ka hai. The price of silver, currently I think it is 60,000 rupees a kilo or something. I don't know. Anybody knows the price of silver now? Gold, I know it is 5,000 per 10 grams. But silver, I don't know what is that. It's something 40 to 60,000, I think, even more. So it's a very expensive solution. Silver nitrate, it's a very, very expensive solution. Even in one environmental science practical, we have to use silver nitrate. So normally all these labs, we don't have funding. We don't do this experiment. We just should tell the students that this is how it is done. You write a protocol, and then if they ask you, you do it like this. So it is so expensive that our college laboratories cannot afford this. Yeah, this is a silver nitrate solution. So happy fumigation. Do you people have got any questions? I think I've finished it today. Therefore, there is no break, and so whatever you want, please do ask questions. Unmute and ask questions. Anything under the article.
So what is the use of
সেল কালচার থেকেও জিজ্ঞেস করতে পারো চাইলে। What is the use of what?
Sir, beta markup
Beta markup that is it's called. It is when you are working with proteins. This is very important, basically. Okay, so it is not in fumigation. Beta markup to the ethanol, basically it has got a sulfur group. So when you are denaturing proteins, proteins are attached. There are several proteins which are attached by disulfide bonds, right? So they disrupt them.
Okay, sir.
It is for when you are working with proteins. There are other chemicals. Many days I did not work in laboratories. Instead of beta markup-ethanol, there are other safer chemicals which are present, which can be used. It's a sulfonating agent, basically.
Okay.
Any other questions?
So, which kind of nematode you get encountered in those previous experiments you have done in the laboratory?
That I did not analyze actually, but these are
Okay.
free living nematodes basically. Some type of soil nematodes, I believe. They are free living nematodes. They are not like your ascaris and they're something like in the family um, of your C. elegans, Caenorhabditis elegans, something of that sort. Lives in drains and also basically some untidy, unhealthy means they came and they got a beautiful solutions rich in serum and they started growing like anything over there. That was a nightmare of my life.
Okay, so
That was the biggest nightmare. I almost lost my job over there. If they found out that 9 lakh rupees it's gone in a drain, they will not believe me. Who will believe me? When billions are working together, big one person project given by a multinational company, here Punendu Chatterjee is breathing over my neck like this. And who will listen to Arnav Ganguly over there? Do hell, we'll get 10 Arnav Gangulys in that money. He'll kick me out. Simple. It's a very bad life. Can viruses do throw them away? Viruses actually viral contaminations, they are less harmful because once a virus attacks, basically that flask is gone. And virus basically they destroy the cells, or they may sometimes live as a lysogeny. So moment if you detect viral contaminations, it's very difficult to detect these contaminations if you don't see them, and that therefore the danger comes. You get to know once when you do the experiment and you get the result, you see that, oh my God, it seems that the cells were not good. You have a positive control and a negative control in the particular experiment. Your positive control gives a very bad, a positive control is a control which you take. You know the result, that this is the positive result you will get so much level. Suddenly you see that the positive control gives a low result. You will understand, oh my God, there is some problem positive with the experiment. Then you see, you check the DNA, you do RT-PCR, and all these things, and see viral products are there or not. Then, like in your COVID, they do this RT-PCR, and then they see if there is a particular contamination on whether your COVID, the COVID has helped the cell culture, I would say, in a bad way, in quotation marks. So people are aware of how to detect basically a viral contamination. You do an RT-PCR and you can find out immediately, oh, there is a viral contamination. A PCR, normal PCR will also from the cell will also give you. You can detect virus. But once you see a viral contamination, throw them off. You don't keep them because you cannot cure them. Antivirals don't work very well. So basically, but problem are with the bacterial ones, especially the mycoplasma. The mycoplasma is something, I mean, it's a nightmare. Actually, mycoplasma contamination is a nightmare. But if you maintain good laboratory conditions, I think you can at least 95% of contaminations can be checked. 5% your luck, what is written in your head, and your luck, your fate. The luck is a very important part of your life, where once you people pass out, the life is not so easy like you find it now. When somebody pays you to do a job, yeah, they need the results. तुमको काम करने के लिए पैसा दिया जाता है. They will not listen. Sir, मेरा घर में कोई नहीं है, मैं आ नहीं पाया, मेरा ये नहीं गया. Nobody is going to listen to the excuse. Why did you not do the training? Why did you not come on that day? Because मेरा बुखार हो गया. Yeah, no, it's not excuse. No personal excuse. You are given this 2 hours of time. You have to do it. If you don't, you're gone. Also, it's not so inhuman. Also, I would say there are human beings who are working, but professionalism doesn't take into account certain these personal things. So in life, whatever you do, in a job or not, काम नहीं किया जाए. Say for example, you pay a person for a service. तुमको तुम्हारा घर साफ करने के लिए किसी को पैसा दे रहे हो, 2 दिन 4 दिन नहीं आ रहा है, कोई रीजन नहीं दे रहा है, तुम्हारा दिमाग खराब नहीं होगा? You bloody get annoyed on that person. Why? Why will I do it? मतलब उसको निकाल के तुरंत उसको निकाल के you'll appoint another person because you are inconvenienced. That person is being paid to do that job and that person is not doing that job. It could be a genuine reason. The 4 din, maybe he has got a problem at his home, real problem. I mean, 50% are lies and 50% may be the truth. But I don't have time to filter it. I need a person who's going to come and do me that job. That's all. That's a professional circuit. Consider yourself as the person who cleans your house when you are working somewhere. You are a servant. When you are doing a job, you are a servant. I am also a government servant. If the government one day feels that this person is not going according to my political ideology, kick him out with an excuse. Nobody is going to help you out. जब डूबोगे तो 10 लोग हंसेगा पीछे, बहुत कम लोग आएगा तुमको हेल्प करने के लिए. This is the truth of life. Okay, anyway, any more questions? देखिए এখানে কোনো more questions are there? Bacteria, अदृश की ব্যাকটেরিয়া নিয়ে বলেছো বলো তো আরেকবার?
মাইক্রোপ্লাজম জিজ্ঞেস করছেন?
হ্যাঁ ব্যাকটেরিয়া বলেছো, ঠিক আছে, ওটা লিখেছিল, ঠিক আছে. Any other questions apart from not from fumigation, from any other things? If you want, you can surely ask me. I did not want to keep it very long of 2 hours because concentration goes away. Try to keep in other things, talk about other things, because it's a very light topic today. But it's a very important thing, this fumigation. If you dive done seriously, you can prevent at least 95% of contaminations. And that's a good 5% rejection is anything. Any day you can leave that 5% level of significance. You can ignore. 5% to hota hi rehta hai. But 95% can be controlled. And whenever you're working critical experiments in industries, always keep a backup. Think that this experiment may fail. So if it fails, what is the plan B you're going to do? You should have a plan A and a plan B. For that, even if you have to spend, if it costs ₹1 for one experiment, I would say spend ₹2 for 1.5 for that experiment and keep a backup ready. You may not need the backup, but you will not lose the time. Keep a backup ready so you can do it faster. If you are supposed to get a result in 2 days, you will get it in 3 days, but it will not become 4 days. So try to inculcate these things whenever you are when you start. If you are interested in start to do a research, I would say choose a good lab, a good supervisor, a good human being first, not for the number of publications they have. I would say a good person is more important than huge lab in India. That's a very important thing. So after choosing a supervisor, first thing, always think about a positive control in an experiment. What is a positive control and what is a negative control? A positive control will always give positive results. Negative control will always give negative results. Keep this in mind, first thing. Second is, if your experiment, don't try to make the organism, don't try to manipulate the experiment to your advantage. That if your result comes like this, you'll get your paper published. You'll fall into trouble. And then later, you'll give a lie. Then to protect that lie, you will give another lie. So for covering one lie, you'll have to give 100 lies. And then you will forget the track of all the lies which you have given. And then eventually you get caught, and then it's a very severe consequence. So I would say, so if you get a result which is not coming according to your expectation, always think what that organism is trying to say. First, see if the positive and the negative control, if the experiment has gone well. An experiment can fail. If it has not gone well, then try to analyze what are the reasons which has not. Talk with people, talk with supervisors, talk with people. So everything, keep your supervisor in the line. Your PhD supervisor, tell him every detail what you have faced. Give him an opportunity to help you. But if you keep on lying, then it's a problem. Then he will get irritated and you will have a problem. So these are certain things most of the students, they don't follow. And in Indian lab, even the supervisor tells to fake data. I was working in a lab, I will not name that person. I was working with transgenic rice. And this particular, they had published 2 papers showing that this gives a salt tolerance. Particular gene has been transfected in this rice. through agrobacterium, and this rice is supposed to give drought and salt tolerance. So if there is a drought or in a saline soil, you can grow basmati rice also. Just hold on. So you can grow basmati rice also. But when I was working, I was given this work. I came to India because I was thinking about settling in India at that time between my PhD and postdoc. I came as a postdoc here, and I just checked it, analyzed it. I could not get this. I was doing an RT-PCR, PCR. I'm not getting this transgene which has been incorporated in this rice. But they're shown in the picture like this. My boss told me that, oh, you do it like this, and I could not accept it. I could not accept it. That such things can happen. I never learned how to fake data. So I had a problem with him that this I cannot do. So what I had to do, I made that construct once more. So it took me 6 months more, but I had to make it, and I had a fallout with my boss on this issue because I could not fake things out. He told me, don't worry, just do a normal PCR and show that there is the construct over there with another plasmid. Show a positive control. So there are also people like this. So this was my experience with Indian supervisors. I have seen good supervisors also, but basically I've seen bad people also. So we have to be very careful about selection of supervisors. There is a lab in under Jadavpur University in CCMB, Jadavpur. In one lab, one of our professors in Asansol Girls, Supriya, he was doing his PhD over there. They were dealing with leishmanias. They were taking neutrophil counts. So they had claimed that their particular drug which they are using, it is effective in curing this particular strain of leishmania. And he's told that he had to go. There are a lot of children who were affected by this disease. They would die eventually. It was uncurable. So this lab claimed that it was a cure, but he came and saw that that was not a cure. In CC, it's not a cure. I'll not name that person who was there because I'll fall into problems. But when he went to work, he saw, and then he used to receive calls from the parents of these children who were infected that, sir, আপনাদের এটা কবে হয়ে যাবে স্যার, বাচ্চাটার অবস্থা খুব খারাপ হয়ে যাচ্ছে. Every day he used to hear it. He had to ultimately leave that within 2 years because he could not bear this emotional torture. So there are even criminals like these. They are working big shots. Unless you are a criminal, you cannot become a big shot. So the corruption is there. Out of that, there is also positivity. There are also people I have seen who work day and night, and they're doing excellent cutting research also in India. In Bose Institute, there is several scholars who are working brilliantly. I have my friend Dibyendu Banerjee is working on cancer. Brilliant work is being done in CDRI Lucknow, but CDRI is known for fake results. But even among them, you'll find some good people working. Anyway, enough of that. So if there is any more questions?
So you have mentioned previously as like we have to prepare some backup regarding the cell media culture. So
Yeah.
After preparing the backup, there are certain cells which have the limited lifespan or viability. Then if the backup cell or the backup cell media group or culture media
Okay, I understand what you mean. That the 2 দিনে তো বাঁচার কথা, 4 দিন হলে মরে যাবে তো basically, তাই তো? So what you do, you keep a vial frozen, ready to be put. So first day you have done the experiment. The second day, what you do, you another fresh flask is as if you are starting the experiment again the next day, right? You start the experiment again on the next day, fresh. So basically, the first experiment is going on. You have not finished the result also. After 1 day, after 1 day, you are doing it. So on the second day, when you see that you don't get a result, already you can do the experiment on that day again. Understand?
Okay, sir.
So মানে প্রথম দিন তুমি একটা সেল তুমি থ করে তুমি একটা ফ্লাস্কে দিয়ে দিলে, পরের দিন সেলটা স্প্রেড করে গ্রো করলে, পরের দিন তুমি এক্সপেরিমেন্ট করলে সন্ধ্যেবেলা, ঠিক আছে? তুমি এক্সপেরিমেন্টটা করার আগে আমি আরেকটা সেল থ করে আরেকটা ফ্লাস্কে তুমি দিয়ে দিলে, ধরো তোমার পরের দিন তুমি দ্বিতীয় দিনেতে তোমার ওই এক্সপেরিমেন্টের রেজাল্ট এলো না, তো তখন তোমার কি আরেকটা সেল রেডি হয়ে গেল, তুমি তার উপর এক্সপেরিমেন্ট করতে পারবে। এরকম আগে মানে ব্যাকআপটা ভেবে চলতে হবে। এটা মানে গভর্নমেন্ট রিসার্চ ফান্ডেড রিসার্চ ল্যাবরেটরিতে ওদের পয়সার শর্টেজ থাকে তো, হ্যাঁ, তাই জন্য এটা ওরা হয়তো করবে না। ওরা বলবে ঠিক আছে বাবা তুমি আগে রেজাল্টটা পাও, যদি ফেল করে তারপরে দেখা যাবে। হ্যাঁ, দে উইল সে, বিকজ the money is a limiting factor over here. But in corporate companies, time is the limiting factor. You don't have time, you have the money. তুমি আরেকটা দিয়ে দিলে। হ্যাঁ, so তোমাকে you have to play with time, number of people, time, people and money. এই তিনটে জিনিসের ট্রায়াঙ্গেলেতে you have to manipulate according to the situation. You have to see what is limitation here, what is the limitation in your lab. If money is the limitation in your lab, then time will never, you have to compromise on the time, right? If time and money both, ঠিক আছে, then you have to compromise, you have to put more people in the work. So somewhere or the other, মানে the number of people working, যদি একটা কাজ দুদিনে করা যায়, সেটা যদি একজন একটা কাজ দুদিনে করে, সেখানে যদি তুমি দুজন দাও সেটা একদিনে কাজটা হয়ে যাবে। সেরকম ব্রিটিশ ফিলোসফি অফ ম্যানেজমেন্ট ফলো করে তোমাকে লাগাতে, মানে মানি, টাইম অ্যান্ড ইয়োর নাম্বার অফ পিপল, হিউম্যান রিসোর্স, এই তিনটে জিনিস তোমাকে ইন্টারপ্লে করে চালাতে হবে। So backup, এটা corporate company, they have got lot of money, but they have to deliver the result the next day. Yeah, so you definitely you have to be you have to think about the backup. If it fails, দরকার হলে 3-4 backup করে নেবে। You spend 3-4 times, because the companies, the person who's going to pay you, they are going to pay you 10 times more. So if you spend 3 times more and you give them the result the next day, you get 10 back, you get 7 times more. So the backup is not a problem. Money is not the problem, but you have to think about the experiments beforehand. Think about the controls. Think about excuses. Positive, honest excuses. কি প্রবলেম হতে পারে সেগুলো আগে ভেবে যেতে পারতে পারে। হ্যাঁ, অ্যান্টিসিপেট, হ্যাঁ, এগুলো একটু আগে থেকে, এগুলো উইথ রিসার্চ এক্সপিরিয়েন্স ইট কামস। When I was new, I উধাম ঝাড় খেতাম, প্রচন্ড ঝাড় খেয়েছি আমি। জেএনইউতে যখন রিসার্চ করেছি কি গাল খেয়েছি, বাপরে বাপ। জার্মানিতে তো একটু ভদ্রভাবে গালাগাল দিয়েছে, কিন্তু গালাগালটা দিয়েছে। সবই খেয়েছি পিএইচডি থেকে, বকুনি ঝাড় সব খেয়ে টে খাটার পরে সারা দিন 2 সপ্তাহ কোনো ছুটি না নিয়ে কাজ করেছি। I was feeling totally exhausted. After that also ঝাড় খেয়েছি। It's not the amount of work you put in, how smart you worked, how your fate worked, how your thought process worked. So it was not an easy journey actually. A PhD or a research journey is not an easy journey. It's a life full of struggles. Absolutely, every day you could not sleep. আর কর্পোরেটে তো আরো টেনশন, চাকরি চলে যাওয়ার, এন্ড তখন বয়স বেড়ে গেছে, ইউ হ্যাভ আ ফ্যামিলি টু সাপোর্ট, চাকরি চলে গেলে কি খাওয়াবো, no problem. These things are there. So you have to be very precise and very good at your work. আলটু ফালতু এই যে তুমি এই যে সরকারি কর্মচারী রেল ফেলে দেখো কাজ করে না, বসে রয়েছে না, কিছুদিন বাদে ঠিক আছে, দেন your mindset becomes খারাপ হয়ে যায়। It becomes an infected mindset. You have got no work, you'll suffer from depression. সারাদিন ধরে গেঁজিয়ে আড্ডাবাজি করে আলটু ফালতু ভাট বকে দিন কভার করলে হবে? ডু ইউ ডু জাস্টিস টু ইয়ারসেলফ? তুমি একটা কাজ করবে, একটা রেজাল্ট হবে, একটা নাম হবে, ইউ উইল গো আপ ইন লাইফ। দ্যাট ইজ ওয়্যার ইউ অ্যাকচুয়ালি গেইন ইনফরমেশন। দ্যাট ইজ ওয়্যার ইউ উইল ফিল কন্টেন্টেড ইন লাইফ। ইউ শুড হ্যাভ আ গুড ফ্যামিলি লাইফ। তোমার যদি প্রফেশনাল লাইফ খারাপ থাকে, your family life also will get affected. Your office troubles will come home. That will be reflected in your children, in your partner, in your parents. It will be reflected on them. তো এগুলো তো এটা আসবে তো, তাই জন্য you should think about. Any more queries? Sangita madam is asking if there is any more queries, please. Anywhere. And it should not be fumigation. If there is no queries, I can stop it, and then I can start scolding you.
I hope no more queries there, Arnabda. Thank you so much for your enlightening talk on fumigation. So that is all for today. I'm ending the session. Hope to see you all tomorrow at 5 p.m. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for your kind cooperation.